Look, we turning conversation into application. This ain't for you if you can't handle deep communication. I see too many trying to teach when they need all the teaching. If you can't practice what you preach, then what's the point of speaking? Look, we thank the Lord for another season. Don't think they ready for you, Lee. I think them boys are sleeping. But we gon' hustle every hour like it's our last. Open up your mind, it's the converSAYtion podcast. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the converSAYtion podcast, where we turn conversation into application. I am your host, Leon Reed Jones, and today we got a very special guest in the building. This is somebody from afar that I respect and admire for the work that he's doing, not only in the city, but the brand that he's created for himself over the last few years. So I'm going to introduce, I know him as DameGotVisuals, but I also know him as Bomar. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Pleasure to be here, man. Thank you for the space, the platform, and I'm excited what we got today, man.
Yes, sir, man. Glad to just talk about your journey and all the great things that you're doing, man. Again, I respect you as a person, respect you as a brand, and all the different creative ways that you're adding, help to society, man. So something I always start with my guest is, what would you title this chapter of your life? If you had to give it a title, a chapter, what would you title this chapter of your life?
Oh, man, that's a great start. For me personally, with this chapter of my life, obviously I turned 25 this year. Last year was a lot of a Mamba year kind of thing. Mostly wanted to not negotiate with myself. There were no non-negotiables. So for this year, for me, it's just, if I qualify, I'm gonna apply, and that goes to show for like anything I want to do this year. Like obviously, last year was a lot of opportunities for me, whether it was traveling, working where I work at and stuff, and obviously connecting with so many individuals on a similar path to mine. So this year, if I qualify, I'll apply will probably be the chapter for this year. For sure. Okay.
If I qualify, I apply. So this kind of take me through that quote, because that to me, I believe that's a bar. And so like, have you always felt that way? Has that all, because some people, they always have that. And then other people, it takes time to develop that type of mindset. So for you, did you always have that type of walk with you, or that mindset with you, or did it take time to develop that?
For me, I would say it took time to develop that. Obviously, in high school, I obviously played basketball and stuff, and obviously you get invites to these crazy camps that NBA players play at and stuff, and you don't think it's legit or whatever. So like, I'll get invites to D2, lower D1, mid-major schools and stuff, and it's like, I'll get the application or the email, or even the mail that comes in with my name on it and stuff. And it's like, oh, so we want to invite you to our camp at U of M or our camp at Central Michigan and stuff. And it's like, I kind of like brushed it off or whatever. So it's like, apparently they see something in me that I don't see in myself, because obviously we didn't have the best record in high school, but it's like being able to be recognized for that kind of stuff, I didn't take advantage of it. So obviously leaving high school and stuff, graduating, and then going off to college, it was like, I want to make sure that I'm putting in everything that I can. If someone sees something in me, I want to pour into it. And it's like, if they see that I qualified, then why not apply and give myself a chance? And that kind of showcased throughout, building out my sports career that I had, working in professional sports and around it, outside of it.
For sure. And another question that I like to start off with my guests is, how would people describe you? If your friends were here and you weren't here, how would they describe you?
Oh man, they can say so much stuff. It's crazy. But I'll probably say they'll probably describe me as someone who's very passionate, down to earth, and really intentional with who he puts in their life. Because I don't want to put people around me that I can't grow with or whatever. Yeah. Otherwise, it'll feel like I'm a showboat, or I'm Hollywood, or I'm not easy to reach or whatever. When in reality, like, I'm always gonna want more for you than from you. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, so like, I always try to be as resourceful, helpful, sometimes for myself first too many times, but obviously as we get older, we learn more about like boundaries and knowing our role in other people's lives. Like for instance, some instances where they'll hit me up for tickets for one thing, and then a whole nother time it's like, can I get a job or whatever? Yeah. Some people who just are proud of me just to be able to be in the situation that I'm in. So that would probably be like my main thing that people would probably say about me if they were in this room or seeing this. For
sure, man. That's respect, man. I like what you said about, if I qualify, I'm going to apply, because I think that's huge, because, a lot of people have the skill, they have the gift, but they don't even know. Like, it's crazy how other people can see the best out of you before you can a lot of times. Like I can remember like my pops would always tell me like as a young child, like me and my older brother were built for greatness. But it wasn't until probably, to be honest with you, it wasn't until I graduated from high school and went on to college like that I could really see like, oh man, like I could really be something. I could really do something.
Right.
And I feel the same way, man. Like if it's there, if the opportunity is there, it's aligned with my purpose, then I'm going after it, because I think a lot of times we try to limit ourselves like, oh, I can only do this thing, or so many people try to put you in a box, but you have this mindset, this character of like, nah, if it's there for me and this is a part of my life, I'm going for it. Like it don't matter what you say, what you think. And just on the other side of that, people being able to see what type of guy that you are, and it holds true. Like I can even see that from afar, just how you support your people, how you carry yourself. Every time I look at your story, you have something inspiring or motivating for people to look up to or wake up in the morning to, because a lot of people need that. A lot of people need the motivation. A lot of people need to see people their age and in their community that they can actually reach out to, not somebody that they can just see on social media, but can actually call you up or hang and chill with you and say like, man, I needed that, or I appreciate you for posting that on Instagram. So, man, I love that. And I kind of want to take us through the beginning of your journey, because, again, as we were walking in, we were talking about your brand, you know, your hoodie brand that you have. So kind of take us through what got you started on the path that you're on right now.
Oh, man, that's a lot. But if I was to like be as honest, transparent as possible, when it came to my hoodie brand, it was honestly a art project at first. At one point, obviously, I went to Eastern Michigan, started off as a student manager, and then fast forward, I wanted to pursue art and stuff. I didn't see any like shortcomings or deficits with this. I'm just like, let's change my major, see what happens and stuff. So I was doing flyers, I was doing different art pieces that I didn't think people would buy for their dorm and stuff. We're all college students. We're not about to spend money on stuff that we don't necessarily need or whatever. So between that, it was just a matter of like, okay, I seen that there's some progress with this or whatever. And then fast forward, COVID happens. Then I work at a print shop in Southfield, and then it was just one of those things where like I found my sketchbook. I had these designs on my sleeves, pretty much, kind of like reflect kind of like who I am as far as like a creative person as well as just a human being in one. So it came to a point where I got tired of buying Nike hoodies, all these right. all of that and stuff, like paying more money than what I needed to, because like obviously you're a college student, like obviously you have nothing but hoodies mostly in your dorm and stuff, and it was like, I got all these hoodies, all the Eastern Michigan stuff. I just want to have like my own thing where I can like really thrive and see where people like really are with the support of what I want to do long term wise. So it was really just all about like really channeling like what I really want to do and like being all in on what I want to do and stuff. So obviously my brand, ISSA VIBE, it stands for it's a visual interpretation behind everything. That's how I look at life, opportunities, creativity. That's just what resonates with me overall, as far as like making sure that I'm everything that I need to be for other people, because obviously it's bigger than me. Then if it's not that, then what am I doing? It's just another thing to go make money off of, or just another thing to try to push for my favorite athlete or whatever the case is. But it was more so for me just being able to obviously leverage my experience at the print shop that I'm thankful for, but also like create my own identity, build my own safety net in a way. And obviously you see a lot of more people our age starting a clothing brand or understanding more about being a vendor, having pop-up shops, this, that, the third. So being able to have experience in that space allowed me to help other people start their business stuff, but also have a different mindset approach when they're building a brand. Because it's also my personal brand, but also it's just something that I was passionate about creative-wise. You don't got to just do open Photoshop and then that's it or whatever. But it's like you can also tap into these other markets where there's people who sit down, do like stuff like this where they interact with one another and they're giving off creative energy to somebody, or selling a product that gives off that energy, or just posting content that's relative to it. So that's kind of what my brand stands for, is what matters to me. And also I'm a hoodie person, so it just
facts,
kind of
right.
checked out by itself. So that's kind of what really mattered to me the most as far as like building my hoodie brand. Potentially I might have something this year. I said that last year, but we're gonna try to get on it this year.
For sure, man.
So that's kind of how I've kind of built my brand, ISSA VIBE, for the most part. But overall, like you said, everything that I really wanted to like apply myself towards, I had to make sure that I'm qualified within myself. Because obviously we're hard on ourselves when it comes to doing stuff. I'm pretty sure when you started this, you needed to have the best equipment to get started or the best studio to get started, but it's like you were saying earlier when we walked in, you were talking about being on IG Live, and then now we're in a space like this, being able to create those experiences, those moments for people to like look back on, watch whenever, 5-10 years later or whatever. So just how full circle a lot of things are. That's kind of what my brand values kind of align with, also with what I post daily in the morning, which is thank you God for another 24, which is just my way of just showcasing, like, literally when I wake up, first thing, like, obviously pray, do devotion, whatever you do in the morning, your routine and stuff. That's how I stay consistent. Like, if I don't put something out in the morning, I feel like I'm not consistent with the things that I want out of life. And, like, you know, how you do one thing is eventually how you do everything. So, like, for me, I just try to be as available as possible. That way, if I don't hear from nobody, then they can just on my channel or whatever, but just know that I'm around if that message goes out in the morning. I used to do the positives of the day or whatever, or Metaphor Mondays when I was at Eastern, and then obviously I branched out of that from Snapchat, and then once Instagram made channels or whatever, I'm like, okay, cool, I can actually, you know, do something with this.
Right.
So overall, I mean, it's all full circle at the end of the day. Obviously, all of it kind of aligns back to my passion for creativity, basketball, and just overall sports in general, how much it's done for my life. So I'm trying to like reimburse that back into the world somehow, some way, for whoever is watching or listening in any aspect.
Yeah, man, I respect that, man, because again, I always say, like, it's so much negativity going on in the world. So we need people to kind of be over the top with the positive stuff so it can overshadow the negative stuff. And I respect that. Again, I've seen all of that you've done as far as the deposits. Thank you God for another 24. I actually, on my way over, I actually saw one you put out today. So it's like, man, you would be surprised how many people our age or even older, man, like, need that. And when they see us doing that, because so many people have a perception of like young people and young adults, but when they see us on the right path and just walking in our purpose, that kind of gives people reassurance that, you know, it's still good in the world. Like, it's a quote that floats around often on social media saying, like, something of the lens of make sure that you're a person that gives people hope, or like be the person that still believes good people exist, which, I mean, regardless of what happens in life, I know that good people exist. But when you can exemplify that, or when you can be that person that shows somebody that may have been around nothing but negative people or negative situations, that, man, no, I do have hope that I'm going to be around a good friend, or I'm going to have some good people in my life. That's always a blessing, to be around that type of energy and that type of environment. And something that you said about, you know, your clothing brand, you got tired of, we know how expensive Nike hoodies are, Adidas fits and all of that. And you talked about how you wanted to branch out, have your own brand. So, like, what did that look like? The start of that look like? And was it ever a tough time where you may have wanted to give up, or you like, man, I don't think this is gonna work out, let me just go back to buying Nike hoodies again, or doing this?
No, for sure, man. Yeah, so like when I started my brand, I was still working at the print shop. So like while I was printing everybody else stuff who had like DTG orders and stuff, on the back end, my checks that I made printing shirts went towards my business and stuff. So like going to UPS, shipping stuff out, doing online orders, paying for my Wix website, my domain name, all of that, and obviously learning everything on the fly as far as like how vendors operate, getting blanks, seeing how long production takes, how much, like, essentially understanding like my cost and like my profit margin for stuff. So understanding all of that while working with people who's trying to start theirs in a way. So it's kind of like a revelation in a way where it's like I'm starting my own brand along with the clients that we have coming into this business and stuff. So like it was obviously a couple challenges here and there, obviously, when you got outside work and you got your main work. So it's obviously there are going to be those kind of like challenges that you'll face. But overall, it was, you know, a good challenge for me to like really be a voice for the brand that I want to build. And that's one of the things that's kind of like lost in most brands today. Like, they just want to make money for having a designer like hoodie or a designer like product or type of experience. But it's like, you might as well just go work a job at that point. Because at that point, if you want to make money, obviously you got to spend it. But it's like, you're just going to keep cycling that over and over and over and not build anything from it or whatever. Like how I was able to build a community even after I'm not selling products no more. At the moment, I'm still growing my personal brand different ways, so it has to serve a purpose at some point. Otherwise, what are we pursuing it for? Just to say that, oh, I sold over 100,000 units worth of, you know what I'm saying, whatever product it is, or having that picture of all of the poly mailers filled out, or all the long picture of shipping labels and stuff. Like, oh, that's cool for social, like you said, but it's also like, if it's not paid forward, you know, or bigger than you, then what are you pursuing it for? So that would probably be like one of my main things, was like really trying to like understand like what was like my voice and my brand in the space, and what can I actually do to leverage this opportunity that I had for later and stuff. So that's really my kind of experience, at least like starting the brand, because obviously it was a art project, and then it's like, I don't mess with Adobe Illustrator, so it was like, okay, let me actually learn how to do this stuff. So then my cousin Mike, he's obviously the embroiderer at the company and stuff, so like once I took it into Illustrator and literally like made the design that I had in my sketchbook from an art project when I was at Eastern and stuff, I got it fleshed out, he digitized it, and next thing you know, he put it on a hoodie. I'm like, yo, I need this on every hoodie. Right. Obviously, fast forward, I mean, it's very expensive to do a sleeve embroidery and stuff, so really just been finding alternative vendors or other places that I could like really go towards, who's open to doing it for a reasonable price, you know. But the quality was always good there, for sure, without a doubt. So that would probably be like one of the challenges that I really face, like doing that. And then also to your point about like facing that doubt that you had, where it's like, damn, like I only sold like 10 hoodies this week, and then you have like a one hoodie sold or no hoodie sold at all the following week. So it's like, you gotta kind of like be patient for, like, you can't be perfect, so you gotta be patient with certain stuff. So like that was one of the things I had to like realize, where it's like, dang, I got no Wix notifications today. So what am I gonna do now? Or how am I gonna be able to cover this, that, the third, my subscription and stuff, if I'm not selling anything? And then also that's where I kind of like had to learn brand and marketing on my own before going to what I do now and stuff. Because it's like, if I'm just posting about the product or just me wearing it, but other people are not in it, but I'm selling it, then it's like, dang, it's not like a scam. Like, you got all these like receipts of people buying it, but you don't got nothing to show for it. So that was where branding and marketing kind of like came in hand, where I had to learn on the fly and actually understand it outside of like the consultations, building relationships, convincing people that wasn't I guess my friends or strangers to buy a product that they don't even know me for real. But now it's like, I created that space to where people who are creatives or people who are passionate about something, they can buy this and then ask them what ISSA VIBE means, and they'll feel as if they can resonate with this. So that was like one of the biggest things I had to like really like face when I was understanding my brand story and how I'm gonna market this product, because obviously everyone's doing that with less or more experience than me. So how can I actually be my own voice in that space?
Yeah, man. And you said something that was very key. Two things, actually. One, you said, you know, you got to be patient, not perfect, right? Because we're human beings. We're not perfect, but patience, as the older folks say, they say patience is a virtue. Yeah. So, and then you also, the second thing that I enjoyed that you said was about how you had to learn these different things on the fly about branding and marketing. But what would you say to the person who, because this is how my brain works, like when I hear stuff like that, like sometimes you hear the be patient because you're not perfect, or be patient, you don't have to be perfect. But what if a person is doing everything that they need to do, they're networking, they're doing all that, and it may not be taking off? What would you suggest to that person? Is it like maybe something, and when I say wrong with their brand, not like it's terrible, but maybe it needs an adjustment? Like what is that conversation you would have with a person? They're doing all the right things, but just something is not clicking yet. Like, what would that conversation be like?
I think for me, the conversation would be like two different things. This is why I tell like everybody I have a Zoom call with as far as working in sports goes, but I always tell them like, you're not going to be 100% ready for anything, but always give 100%, and you'll get 100% given back on you. Because a lot of people, like I mentioned not too long ago, where it's like they'll have all these people who bought their product, like Lil Yachty bought my stuff, he posted it, or whatever influencer they like, or whoever it is, they can have that one goal and then they don't know what to do after that. So it's like you have the episode with this high profile person and you gotta make episode 2 right after that. How do you follow up with that? So it's also like painting a picture for someone who's, like you said, they check all the boxes there. They hit their margin goals or their profit goals that they wanted to have. They sold this amount of units they wanted to sell. And it was a design that they probably loved and didn't have to pay that much for because they made it. it's just where that's the case, but it's also like, are you doing everything within your why in order to get to whatever your where looks like? And if that's what it is, then hey, you good. You know, you just expand from that or elevate from that. You shouldn't feel as if like you're not in a position to be successful or find, I guess, a follow-up to it. You know, it shouldn't be forced, because like, if you know your why when you get started, then wherever you go next, I mean, you know, it's from a good foundation. Like, yo, I did this, so let me build on for this thing or whatever. And some people will say like, yo, I don't want to be doing what I was doing last year or whatever. I want to take it up a notch. But this is another thing that I also tell people too, where it's like, I saw in the video, I think it was like a boxer. He was talking to his trainer and stuff. He was like, I'm not ready for this, or he was tired. It's a video on Instagram. I promise you, if I find it, I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
Pretty much, it was like, what got you here won't get you here kind of thing, or what got you here won't get you to there. And essentially, it was like everything that you did to get to where you are right now isn't going to set you up for that next thing or whatever. So like, if I want to lose weight or whatever, and I lost a certain amount of weight already, I can't do the same as that thing and then, you know, expect to have something different if I'm just repeating that same thing over and over. So you kind of have to like really paint the picture for someone where it's like, remind them or help them remind themselves of like why they get started and what was their goal in making this other than making money. Because at that point, you just didn't make money. You kind of like cut yourself short. You could have just worked the job and then just, you know, did your drop shipping and stuff, pre-orders, and then it's just been fine with that residual income. Now you put all your savings, everything that you made, all your capital into this product, and it's like you're not even satisfied with what you had. And that's another thing that I feel like a lot of us in our generation deal with, where it's like we feel as like we have to do way more than we're too, I can't think of the exact way to word it, but it's like we're not satisfied with what we have or whatever until we don't have it no more. We're not in that position no more. So it's like you kind of have to like be where your feet are in a way. And like people, like I said, they just don't quite get it sometimes, or it take them not being in the position they was before in order to appreciate it. So like if he or she sold this amount of units or whatever, they had a 6-figure business, but it's like now they're in the corporate world now, and it's like, dang, like I wish I was still like, you know, had that kind of feeling where I could still have that 6-figure mindset, but I'm in the corporate space. How can I translate that over? And that comes with creating transferable value and knowing your brand and stuff. But that's kind of the kind of conversation I would have with someone who's checking all the boxes. Yeah, man, that's dope. And I like what you said towards the end about, you know, people, they do it for, because they look at our generation as the microwavable generation. We got to have something right away. And social media has like giving people a distorted view of how things actually work. Like you see a guy like LeBron and you like, man, I can make it to the league. Now it's not to say like, I'm not the guy that's going to tell you like, you're not going to make it to the league. Right. You're not going to be able to do this, because that's not my place. But like LeBron worked hard to be where he was. Now you may just be seeing reels and clips and all of this other stuff. You're not around him to be able to see the work that he still puts in year 20, right? Like this man got 40,000 points. Like he's the top number one in scoring all time ever. But that don't just happen. That doesn't just happen because you athletic. Like that fades. Like that doesn't just happen because you can score the basketball. Like you got to find different ways, as you've been saying, like to be creative. And I think a lot of times a person can see you, it's like, man, he came out with his own brand. I used to go to school with him. He stayed down the street from me. I'm gonna do the same thing. But it's like, this was a passion. Like this, all of this came from like what your purpose was supposed to be on earth. Like this, not just because like, oh, like, yeah, you met the right people and all of that. And that's a part of the journey, but this was a passion and you put work in for that. And I think a lot of times people can see the likes and the views and it's like, I don't got to work as hard. I just got to have something I want to talk about, right, or have a brand I like. And then we're going to do that. But like you said, if you just wanted to do that, you could have kept working at the, you know, clothing brand store you was working at. If you wanted to just do that, you know, I heard Eric Thomas say like, if I just wanted to make money, I could have went to this college, but I wanted to have impact. So I did above and beyond of what most people thought I could do. So I respect that, man. But something that I always think about is because you have this side of people and then you have another side that says, hey, you're not working hard enough. You need to put in work. Don't ever be satisfied. But you're coming from a lens of what, you know, the other side says a lot of times,
where like be satisfied with what you have, but also don't stop putting in the work. Like you have to appreciate what you're doing right now. Like don't stay in the moment too long, but appreciate what you're doing right now. Appreciate the sales that you have made if you're an entrepreneur. Appreciate the weight that you have lost if you're on a weight loss journey. Appreciate all the different things that you're doing right now. Don't just get complacent, but realize like, man, it takes time. This is a ongoing process. So like, how did you build that balance of being like, I got to stay hungry, but at the same time, I'm proud of what I did with my brand?
I think for me, it was really just understanding, like, obviously, it's a lot of stuff that I took on doing with starting my brand and then following that, being able to have the sports career that I had or professional career that I had. But I think for me, it was just mostly about really just like, obviously imposter syndrome is a thing. Obviously, everyone deals with it, whether they're entrepreneur or not, working sports, wherever, or let me rephrase that. You do any of those kind of things or those type of pursuits, you're going to have imposter syndrome. You're going to have burnout. You're going to have these challenges, these trials and tribulations you're going to face and stuff. And it's like, you kind of have to like tune everything out, you know, because at the end of the day, you're the one who has to make these results happen. You know, it's not on the people you went to school with for that. It's not the people you work with for that or the people you're in a relationship with for that. You have to continue to like deposit into yourself every day in order to get the results or payouts that you want to have and stuff. And I think that was one of the things that like really helped me like shape like the kind of person I wanted to become, the kind of work that I wanted to do. So it was easy for me working with athletes or working with people who are entrepreneurs or creatives. It just made it easier to like communicate with them as well as just be able to still be myself in that space still. So I feel like it just goes back to like knowing your why, you know, being as truthful and transparent with yourself. Because obviously you can have imposter syndrome like, I don't think I was qualified for this internship or not qualified to have this brand. I don't got this big old expensive printer. I don't got this expensive camera to start doing photo shoots for teams and stuff. Like you'll feel that way, but it's like, that's what I was saying earlier. You're not gonna be 100% ready for anything you want to do, but if you're giving 100% into it, stick around long to see it come through. Whatever. Yeah, and that's how it goes with like brands, content, literally resumes, like anything. You know, like you have to really be like all in on yourself in order to get 100% back into yourself, and that's kind of how it goes for the most part. For sure.
And when you talk about branding and learning the business, like what is some tips or what are some tips that you would give a person who's networking, trying to get in whatever space, whether that's an entrepreneur, they got a podcast, whatever they're trying to do? What are some good branding tips that you didn't know that you know now, and networking tips that you know now that you would give to somebody?
Yeah, for sure. I had to think about that for a second because it's like a lot of stuff I could give people, but I'll probably say one thing for sure as far as like with your own brand and stuff. I want to say you want to know your brand as if you know your favorite song. Mm-hmm. Like you have to like really like know, like without the music playing, you know it. Even without the lyrics playing, you know it. Like that's kind of how you have to treat your brand overall. Like you know the message and you know type of story you want to tell with it, you know type of clientele you're looking for, and you know kind of content you need to put out. Mm-hmm. And stuff. So like I feel like if you really like focus in on like everything you want to do within your brand, then you can make that top song or top product in the way when it comes to like building a brand, no matter what it is. Mm-hmm. You know. And then another piece of advice I would say would probably be just being all in for yourself, because like a lot of people, they'll be like one foot in, one foot out, where it's like, my one friend from that's the workplace work with or went to school with, they like, oh man, you changed or whatever, da 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 da. And the people that's doing what you want to do and like they're like on your behalf for this thing they want you to do, and you told them about, they all in for you. So it's like you kind of have to like know like the difference between like your circle and the cage or whatever. Mm-hmm. Where it's like with your circle, it's gonna move with you or whatever. But then when it comes to the cage, you're the one moving, and the cage is standing still or whatever. So you kind of have to know what kind of people that's around you for one while you're pursuing it, but also understand like your mindset matters and your perspective matters. Like you can see it as a circle or see it as a cage. Like if I'm in a group of people, like you hear it all the time on IG or the motivational videos where it's like, oh, I can show you 6 millionaires and I can show you 6 broke people. Whoever you hang with, you're gonna be the 7th one. And it's like, yeah, it's a true statement, but it's also like a reality check where it's like, dang, like are people in my life helping me towards where I'm going or where I used to be or whatever? And like having a circle of influence also helps you a lot. So like having friends that work in different areas or have different life experiences or whatever, come from different backgrounds than me, that's why I love networking, because it's like you never know like who knows who at the end of the day. And then also you really can be like one yes away from that next opportunity or whatever.
Sure.
Or you can literally be like one connect away from landing a gig that you've been underqualified for in your eyes, but like, yo, like, why don't you apply for this already? You're already located here. You already have the background for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where like when it comes to like your personal brand, you really have to like network like crazy. Obviously you hear your network due to your network, this, that, the third or whatever, but it's also like really important, like you're building relationships that aligns with your vision for life or your purpose or whatever, because otherwise what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? I'm just meeting somebody just to meet them because it's like, oh, I met this person, they got this amount of followers or whatever, or this, that, the third, but it's like, if we both can't understand value to one another, then we're wasting each other's time. And like,
for sure.
This is to show, like, for a prime example, obviously not to flex or anything, but like, after my internship ended with the Pistons or whatever, obviously everyone knows who Lethal Shooter is. Obviously, I understand it now.
Yeah.
So like, literally, after my internship ended, it was one of those like revelations again, where it's like he seen my work when I was at Eastern Michigan doing all these cartoons, all this other stuff or whatever, and like out of nowhere, like 2 weeks after I posted my recap from the Pistons, all the work that I've done, you know, intern to market again. I have a full season on my belt, or with a brand here already. I already have experience relative to like what I want to do long term already. So he reached out and was like, yo, man, I love everything you were doing with the Pistons and your work prior to that. I was wondering if you want to be a designer. You know, obviously he works with like Red Bull and stuff, and like his sponsors and stuff that he obviously collaborates with. Everybody sees it and stuff, but like he wanted to have like his own team and stuff before back in. So obviously his videographer team is amazing. They do most of his content, obviously. So like them crazy trick shots you see at like full court on wind turbines, all this other stuff. So like he has his own team of people who he can rely on and invest in. And it's like, that was like a reassurance to me, where it's like one place might not see my value long term in their plans, but someone else found me at the right time in a way where I can pour into them and then reciprocate that value back. And like, that's how the dynamic is with our relationship, where it's like, he's gonna be real with me, I'm gonna be real with him. Like if something don't look right, Basketball Hall of Fame, or something don't look right for any sponsorship that he has, like I have to account for that. He doesn't like when people are like he wants me to be as brutally honest with him as possible, and that's something I had to like grow to learn, you know. And he'll vouch for me, I'll vouch for him with certain stuff, and he values my opinion on stuff. So it's like having people that want more for you than from you, that's important, because otherwise people around us gonna say like, oh yeah, man, you should post the episode, even if he said this wrong or she said this wrong, post the episode, or whatever. But it's like, you need people around you that's gonna want more for you than from you, because at that point, why are you around me? You clearly don't have my best interest. And it's like, you know, I could have just found somebody else that I may not know as long as you, but they understand like where I'm trying to go and where my purpose aligns. And that's something that I had to like learn as time goes on building a brand network. Like you're gonna have people that they fit a certain part of you or whatever, but they're not part of your foundation or whatever. So you kind of have to like understand like they're part of your funnel, but not your foundation. And that's kind of how you kind of like navigate with like building your own brand, networking, or just pursuing any goal you have as an entrepreneur, creative, or just a employee somewhere that you are really passionate for. So
and how did you as a like person, because I feel like we all run into this at some point or another, like you kind of hinted at it like, oh man, you switched up, or you this, that, and the fourth, because people can see you and like you doing your thing. Because even like I said, man, when I see it, I'm like, bro, that is dope. Like the creative designs that you're doing, again, you got your brand, like you moving up, like you doing everything that you want to do and more. And some people can say like, man, I used to go to school with him, or I know him from being on the block. Like how was that for you, adjusting and understanding like I'm not switching up? Because like when you're not in it, when you're not on the path, people look at it like you switching up, or you different, or you change. But it's like in reality, I'm not supposed to be this. If I'm 25, I shouldn't still be the same guy that I was at 17. I shouldn't even be the same person I was at 23, at 25. So how was that for you, navigating through that and understanding like, no, I'm networking, but at the same time, because whether we admit it or not, we do have that kind of second guess, like, man, am I switching up on these people, or am I like, how did you deal with that?
Oh man, yeah, it was honestly just like I said, leaving Eastern Michigan, it was just a revelation and stuff. Like really seeing what college was actually for and stuff. And obviously, you meet great people along the way who's doing dope things in their own way. There's still people that I still connect with this at Eastern, and they're doing just fine and stuff. Same thing with like high school, you know, all kind of like again, it kind of goes back to like what are you like, what purpose or essentially like in this chapter of my life, what page do you fit in my chapter of life? That's pretty much kind of how you have to look at it in a way. And then also it's like, are we growing together? Are we going together? Or are we not doing anything? You know, for me, it's always been like, if we can't grow together, we can't go together. That's in any type of relationship that I have with anybody, that's just a common thing. Yes, anybody, it's a common thing. I don't want to be someone that just doesn't have your best interest. Because why am I around if I can't pour into you? If I can't be as honest with you, why am I around you and stuff? And obviously, like, for instance, like, landing an internship with the Pistons, like, that was probably like the craziest of like things to like really understand. Like, I'm a hometown kid from Detroit, all 24 years of my life, and I just landed an internship with the team that I grew up watching since I was 5 years old. And stuff. So seeing the picture with the trophies and the media day that we had and stuff, like, and seeing all the overflow of comments and responses, some people I haven't heard from since middle school, elementary school, high school, Eastern and stuff. And it's like, not that they counted me out or anything, but it was like one of those things where it's like, out the woodworks, like, oh, like, who sent you? You know what I'm saying?
Right, for real.
So it's just crazy how, like, you know, people, like, they'll watch you, but they'll probably want to acknowledge you, and that's okay. People can live like that. That's fine. You're not responsible for how people think about you and stuff. And then, obviously, like, you fast forward with everything that I've done prior to that, like, being invited to Forbes or working at Yahoo Sports or interning at Slam or even what I do now with the NBA and stuff. Like, obviously, people will see me, and then they'll try to, like, bring back that old stuff where it's like, you know, oh yeah, I remember we used to talk about this at the third and stuff, and it's like, cool, but what are you doing too? You too, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never want to be a center of attention. That never been me. I never want to be a center of attention. I always want to like be able to like shout out other people or support other people in what they're doing and stuff. So like, there's always that, and then even to your point, like everyone wants to be where you are sometimes or be in your position, but sometimes people don't know what it took to get here. Like, and I don't talk about this a lot or family stuff as much, but like, I think losing my grandpa like 3 years ago was like that revelation in which like, if you didn't reach out to me, like, you're done. Like, there's nothing to talk about or whatever. So like, it was just one of those moments of transparency, and like, obviously being at a funeral, like, you expect to see, you know, a lot of people that, you know, supported, you know, that loved one of yours that's no longer here and stuff. And it was like a real eye-opener to how like life really is or whatever. And like, people only there for you when you're doing good, but like, who's there to check on the person that's always checking up on them? So like, that was like one of those like, I'm just lock in, lock out kind of things, and I just didn't want to deal with anybody or whatever. I just wanted to worry about my brand, get these internships, contracts, etc. Like, I didn't care about any of that no more. You know, at that point, it didn't matter who I went to school with or who I met in college or whatever. At that point, it didn't matter no more. So for me, I just really went on myself, because it was just one of those instances where like, you can't really depend on anybody but you to get through what you're going through and stuff. And obviously, a lot of people can attest to that. Like, some people have friends that's in jail, or some people that's no longer there with them who was a pivotal piece to their foundation and stuff, and they can't function the same way without them or have a different type of motivation to it. So it's like, it kind of goes back to knowing your why or why you got started, or just knowing like, yo, like, this isn't just because of me, it's bigger than myself. Like, work for the NBA, it's bigger than myself. Being at these other spaces, these networking events and stuff, is bigger than myself. The network I made, bigger than myself. Like, I can't just always look at it as just me overall, but I also have to like pay it forward, because otherwise it comes off Hollywood. It comes off, you know, flashy or whatever. Granted, I'm a humble person, but like, if I did it, I'm gonna tell you that I did it. It's not anything else to talk about, you know. So, and also like, categorizing my friends was another important thing too. Like, I got people I can talk about business, entrepreneurship with. I can talk to people who I play the game with or whatever. I talk to people that I can go work out or play basketball with or whatever. And I got people who I can just like literally just talk about life with, or, you know, God and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you have these different types of people in your life that's okay. You're not gonna mix your business friends with people who, you know, to care about the Christianity and stuff. And then you got people who you game with or whatever, and you can't mix them with people you go work out and hoop with, or they have two different mindsets or whatever. So like there's also that knowing an aspect as well, like knowing like who's who and like who fits what page in your chapter of life. Exactly. And sometimes they don't make it to the next chapter, and that's okay. You have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, some people can't take that or whatever. So like that's why you see a lot of people that we might have grown up with or whatever, where it's like it's the same clique of people, or it's the same people that you'll see at a bar, at a club, or you know, whatever. You know, and it's like, you know, you got your day ones, your day twos, and your day threes in life, and you kind of have to know and navigate like who fits what for what you're trying to do and stuff. You know? So like even seeing people with like families that I went to school with, or seeing people who's in healthy relationships with people that I know and stuff, and it's like seeing where everybody else is in their life. I can't get caught up on their level 100 or my level 10 and vice versa. I can't get caught up with that or whatever. So like that'll probably be like my main thing overall. Like you kind of have to like know your footing, know your why, and then obviously make sure that you're authentic within yourself, because if not, then they're going to write whatever narrative they want about you, where it's like, oh, we work for the NBA, think you better than everybody around here, or you a gatekeeper, or this, that, the third. And like people message me that on LinkedIn all the time when I don't have an answer for something. Like I don't want to lead you to the wrong thing by giving you a wrong answer. Then I look bad and my credentials look bad. So it's like that kind of stuff I hear and stuff, but I don't take it personal or whatever, because that's your choice at the end of the day, how you feel about it. You asked me a question, I answered it, and that's how you.
You ain't like the answer I gave you.
You call me a gatekeeper because I don't have the answer. That's, I don't know what to tell you. Like I network with a lot of people who got a lot of opportunities just because I talked to them, not because I talked to the person who hired them, but like to reassure them, like, yo, like you fit this position, like apply for this. You crazy? Like, look to have you. You know, like I'll be an endorsement for whoever I need to. You know, if the relationship's there for sure.
Yeah, man, I respect that, because it's what you described about like understanding who you need to be around at what time, or putting people where they go, like you said, categorizing. Everybody knows what I'm about to say when I say this, because I probably say this on every episode, because my boy Cleavon that I met in college, he blessed my life with this advice. But he worded it as, you know, you have to define and align your different relationships with people. And when he said, I'm like, yo, what do you mean by that? Like, what is going on? Like, what do you mean when you say that? And he was like, basically what you said, like, you know, you wouldn't talk to the people that you go play basketball with about business, because those are two different values. They value two different things. Right. And so for me, I think when he told me that, like my life changed forever, man, because I started implementing that, and it made things a little bit easier for me. And you maintain relationships because you know where to put people in your life, man. And as you kind of talked about your opportunity with the NBA, so just kind of walk us through how that started, or how you segued into that situation.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, I mentioned I interned at the Detroit Pistons as a graphic design intern. So obviously, prior to that, I had experience with the print shop, working with a brand agency as a contract social media designer, and then working with my dog Trey. Shout out to Trey Madge Jr. That's my dog right there. Literally, the funniest thing about working with him was like, I found out that we played the game together when we was like middle school, high school, whatever, and I had no idea. I mean, obviously, he played college basketball at Western Michigan, Oakland, Cal State Fullerton, and he just thrived like after we did his camp and stuff together. So like I did his camp with him, Nate, and a ton of other people that I got to work with as well, and meet and connect with and stuff. And from that point forward, like everyone who was around me at that time like really flourished in that space. And then that was like my last like, okay, I think I can apply for this position now. I think I'm ready for this now. Or whatever. I'll stop making my own content on my media page and stuff, but like doing that stuff like really like gave me hope for like the kind of stuff I wanted to do, because obviously some positions in sports, they don't exist or whatever, or some opportunities in creativity doesn't exist for you. You'll hear people say like, oh, you can't make a Picasso and go live off in the islands and stuff, or that kind of stuff where people will try to like downplay a degree or whatever because it's not needed in the world. But it's like people who was able to have a lot of opportunity and success being creative or being personable with people, and that's kind of something that always been like part of my foundation when it came to like these opportunities that we're talking about. So like once I was there for a full season, pretty much under my belt, I'm like, okay, cool. I did a whole season as an intern. I did a lot of cool things. Also, I probably shouldn't have been doing. Like me and Kyrie Irving was probably like the craziest of experiences I had, like being at the Pistons. Like, granted, it wasn't supposed to happen, but not willingly, of course, it was happening. You know, him and KD was cooking us Christmas or around Christmas time or whatever for Christmas and stuff. So like that was one of those things. And then obviously the intern class I got to work with like really like gave me like reassurance, like, yo, like you can go anywhere. You know, you've done a lot of work with your internship and stuff. So like hearing like my peers that I work with, and obviously like the VPs, my creative director at the time, and obviously like the senior designer, pretty much the floor that I work with and stuff, they all like reassured me like, yo, like anybody looking to have you and stuff. And then obviously it was like, it kind of sucked, obviously, like finding out I wasn't coming back or whatever. But it was just, you know, something to like really appreciate, like, actually understand like how business works at the end of the day. If they don't have the money for you, they're not going to spend money on you. You gotta live with that. You know what I'm saying? If the money ain't there, then the money is just not there. And sometimes with spaces like sports, like, granted, you don't make the most money in sport, but you get the most experiences out of sports and stuff. So like people will see like social media design stuff or social media for like an NBA team, like, oh, that's it. All you gotta do is just post this, post that. It's like, it's a whole front office operations. Like, we gotta do brand shoots with here. We gotta do collabs with here. We gotta get content for this, content for that. We gotta sell tickets for a team that's not even winning games like that. Post them out, nah, you know,
AC,
2019 AC right now, so we good right now. But you know, it's one of those things where like people gotta like really understand, like there's a lot of stuff that goes into working in sports, and like that was one thing I had to like really realize, like the infrastructure of a company where it's like you got your group sales, you got corporate partnerships, you got brand, marketing, CSR, video content. Like you got so many different people you got to talk to and work with as a graphic designer, which kind of already like, check my box. Like I love working with people and helping people with different needs. So like I was doing this at the third, from Motor City Cruise games to Pistons GT, the 2K League team, to even the Pistons dancers, entertainment team and stuff. So I was in every avenue possible, and I maximized my minimums in that space and stuff. And obviously once my internship ended, it was like, you know, Lethal Spirit reaches out, cool. You know, fast forward, you know, I post my work on LinkedIn more, and I just really found myself like gaining traction. My network was growing. Like right now I'm almost at 4,000 connections right now.
That's
so
dope.
Literally I will say like February, or not February, but like November 2023, I kind of had like a lot of like traction going. I'll post my media stuff. I'll post on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and I just saw compound interest happen out of nowhere and stuff. Obviously I post my recap with the Pistons. A lot of people in my network is mostly people at the company. So like when they like my post, someone on their network sees that they like the post that I made and stuff. So like, they have connections that I didn't even know existed. And then, you know, fast forward, someone from Slam reached out. Shout out to Jaylene for everything with my time at Slam, but literally reached out and was like, she seen my design that I did. I don't know what design it was specifically, but she basically offered me an internship there. And at that time, I was already like a full year under at Full Sail University and stuff. So like I kind of already met the criteria as an intern, where I was in school. I'm doing design. Let's do it. I got time or whatever. And it was kind of like one of those things where like I had to like see if I was really passionate about it. I was coming from the Pistons, where it's like it's everything I dreamed of. I did this, that, the third. Met a lot of great people, worked with a lot of great people, had a ton of experiences. It was a paid internship. It was in person. And on top of that, it was everything I imagined. So imagine doing a whole 180 where it's like it's an unpaid internship, it's remote, and for 10 weeks. Opposed to 10 months. So being able to like really challenge myself mentally, like, yo, are you really passionate about this design stuff? Are you who you say you are? This, that, the third. So like I had a conversation with myself, and then I go through 10 weeks, and it's like, shoot, I worked with the production team with the OKC cover rollout, Slam issue 247, if I'm not mistaken. Worked with a lot of the W Slam content and stuff when they was highlighting like Malaysia for Wiley, Juju Watkins, Hannah Hidalgo that we see now and stuff thriving and stuff. So like being able to work with like W Slam and editorial space of it as well, because mostly all basketball stuff. That's what I wanted to do, cover stories and storytell around the game that opened up opportunities for me and stuff. So like being able to be in that space really allowed me to like reshape my voice or adjust my microphone in a way where it's like, yo, like I've been at these places, I know the sport just like anybody commenting on a Bleacher Report post or whatever. I know more than them, or I know enough about like why do they do things the way they do and stuff. You know, and obviously having platforms like W Slam, High School Slam, Slam Kicks, all these other different entities and stuff, you also learn brand and marketing along the way. So all these places I've been at carried over to where I am now and stuff. So like Yahoo Sports was like everything to me at that point. Like, granted, I came off an unpaid internship, but now I'm making the most money I ever made. Or whatever, doing everything I imagined, which was just watch sports and do graphic design. So that was just another thing where like me networking paid off because I didn't apply for that position at all. It's the most money I ever made designing as a contract. So it was just one of those like reassuring things like, yo, you stuck around long enough, these 10 weeks or whatever, you wasn't selfish, you wasn't at the third, you wasn't too good for it, you took it, you did it, or whatever. Now this is how you gonna start 2024. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna do this at the third, etc. You know, and then probably like after the Super Bowl and after the Australian Open and stuff, I was doing a ton of different projects for Yahoo Sports that I'm thankful to be doing. And then obviously Connect the Mind, I had reached out to me, was like, yo, we got an opening for this project employee position for digital social content or whatever. And the funny thing about this is like, this same position that I'm working right now was offered me while I was interning at the Pistons and stuff. And and again, go back to what we were talking about earlier, I just didn't feel like I was ready for it or whatever. But then I had to like really like think like, okay, I think now is the time. I stayed in touch with him that entire period between Slam, Yahoo Sports, like the sure stuff, but like being able to finally feel as confident as I am now, and then my page grew as well from professional standpoint, my personal standpoint, it grew. So I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready for this role at the NBA now. And then not even like 2 weeks later, I ended up getting the position. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm almost a year in. I worked second half of this season or second half of last season, 23-24 to now the beginning of this season to current day right now.
All right. Okay, cool, man. That's a great story, man. I'm a big person on stories and hearing like people's comeback stories or hearing how somebody made it to where they are. So again, man, I just respect and love all the stuff that you're doing. And I can appreciate it from another, you know, creative standpoint, just from the podcast space and the things that I'm trying to do. I'm learning a lot and getting some gems from you, bro. So I definitely appreciate it. So I never tell my guests about this part on purpose, but we're going to play a game before we get up out of here.
Oh, man.
But it's like kind of a rapid fire game, but I call it Let Me Get to Know You. So I'm going to ask you a few questions and you're going to answer them basically, you know, to the best of your ability. So my first question for you is name your top three favorite basketball players in the league right now.
Top three players in the league right now will probably have to be KD for sure, K Cunningham without a doubt.
Okay.
And see, I watch a lot of basketball, man. I don't know. Yeah. Like those all the screens I have on my story, like I would not be kidding. But obviously KD, Cade, and I'll probably say I'll probably say SGA. For sure. Okay. I'd probably say definitely JT, my guy JT. Yeah.
It don't look like we gonna get another ring this year, but it's all good. But I would love to see OKC come out the West. My second, I would probably say SGA. And I'll say Dame.
I feel so bad. I can't believe I missed that one.
Yeah, I'll say my guy Dame. I'll say Dame. So my next question is, who is somebody that you haven't worked with around the NBA that you would like to work with?
Oh, man. So, like a player or just in general?
Player, it could be player, anybody in general.
I'll probably say, dang, that's a good one. Shoot. I really have two, honestly. It's over at Adidas, probably like Anthony Edwards. I really love the campaign they do with
Facts,
with
yeah.
Man, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's phenomenal marketing. It's amazing to see their story every time they post it, have his family involved, his best friend involved. It's amazing.
That is fire.
And then the other person I'll probably say is I'll probably say either Dame or I can't think of. I don't want to say Steph. That's kind of like the obvious answer. Under Armour does a lot for them. But like I'll probably say Dame. I love his personal brand that he has with obviously the music stuff. I love how versatile he is with his work for sure. So I'll probably say Ant and Dame for sure.
Okay, yeah, man. Speaking it to existence, man. We're gonna look up and see you working with Ant and Dame, man. So that's dope. Yeah, facts. So another question. This is probably a question I probably ask everybody.
Sure.
So if you had to name your top three, they could be cartoons, regular TV shows, black TV shows, what would they be?
Oh,
if you can't do top three, you can do top five.
Oh man, you said movies, cartoons, whatever.
Yep.
Oh man, dang, Dang, it's a lot of good ones, man. That's hard, man. Obviously, you can't go wrong with Friday for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if Rush Hour would be considered a black one because that Jackie Chan in it.
Yeah.
But I consider it black too. But like just the Rush Hour series, I love that. So I would probably say Friday series, Rush Hour, Boys in the Hood, Coach Carter, and dang, that last one kind of hard. Man. I don't know. It's a lot of good stuff, but like, oof. Dang, man.
Yeah, you always gonna, once you say one, you like, dang, I could have picked this one.
That one, like, you know what I'm saying? But dang, that's a lot of stuff. I watch a lot of cartoons, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, you know, given what you asked specifically, but dang, I'll probably say my last one would probably be like, I don't know, I can't say in basketball. It's all right. I'm not gonna say it's bad. Yeah. But say Coach Carter. Dang, it's a lot of good stuff still that I'm probably missing out on right now. It's gonna be crazy. Dang, I really cannot think of this one.
You got a solid list for sure.
Yeah, it's like it's there, but I just can't think of like that last one. I just know it's like a good one that's like it's there for sure. But I'll have to come back to that one real quick.
I'll probably say for me, I'm gonna do movies. I'm gonna do half movies, half TV show.
For sure.
It's not in order, but
yeah, that's always me.
I say Snowfall. Snowfall was definitely a good show. For me, I put Like Mike in there.
Okay.
I ain't gonna go with Boys in the Hood. You got that one already. I'll say Juice was a good one.
That's a good one.
Where am I at? I got 3. Snowfall, Juice, Like Mike. I like Paid in Full too. I like Paid in Full. And I'll go Rush Hour. Rush Hour 2 to be exact. That's my favorite Rush Hour. So that's my top 5. And the last question.
Oh man.
Who do you think will be in the NBA Finals this year?
Oh man. I would like to clarify. I do not have the script. I do not have the script for this finals.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
But the way it's looking right now, the season ended today. In my honest opinion, I'm gonna give two answers. If it ended today, right now, I would probably say coming out the East, I'll probably still say Boston, in my opinion. And then out the West, I'll probably go with the Thunder.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
If it ended today, I'll probably go with those two teams. Just for overall, like, fit-wise, you know, I think it'll probably be like a great overall matchup. I would think so. I mean, obviously, we've seen how, like, the Mavs looked last season and stuff. You know, like, not to say that they weren't fit for that matchup, but obviously it was a huge difference in, like, chemistry and just overall, like, how they got there. Their path wasn't, you know, as similar to Boston, where like they didn't have to play extra hard.
Yeah.
For Boston, like granted, Porzingis wasn't playing as much in the finals, but like, yo, like they're legit. OKC, they have what it takes. They're a really good defensive team. I feel like you can counter that for a team that has a lot of threes going on and stuff. But
exactly.
that's probably, if the season ends today, I'll probably go with those two. But I think by the time April comes around, I think probably Milwaukee will come out the East. It'll probably be a shocker to some people when they see this, but like I would say Milwaukee. For sure. I mean, it's kind of hard to like rule out Damon Giannis in my opinion, as far as like just a dynamic duo goes. And then assuming the West is the West as we know it to be and stuff, which is never know. I'll probably say Phoenix. I think Phoenix, like, I think this year, I think the way the West always looks, though, it feels like in the West, the seasons don't really matter as much in the West.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
In the West. That's just a historic thing. Like, the West has always been good. I think by the time April comes around, I think Phoenix is going to be, like, really ready. And stuff. And I think KD could probably give us, like, you know, USA basketball type of nostalgia, I feel like, you know. Not to say, like, okay, see, not going to be healthy by then or, you know, full strength team. I just think Phoenix, they just have the type of stuff we got to, like, really account for. I think. Yeah. And obviously having the experience they had last season, how it worked and stuff, and how they came up short playing against Ant and them. And obviously you pull away Anthony Towns from that Timberwolves team, you account for that. Then you look at how Denver been playing and stuff. Where it's like most of their role players ain't there no more. So it's like, those like the real dogs for real. And then obviously OKC, they don't have Chet no more until next season. So it's like you kind of have to like it's kind of hard to bank against the Suns when you have Kevin Durant on your team. And obviously you look at everybody else and stuff like Houston, they're doing good as a young team with Ime Udoka, Jalen Green out for Sengun and stuff. You know, and there's a lot of people that come out the West, honestly. I just think for me it's personally because it's kind of hard to rule out KD in the series. And granted, not to say that the Lakers don't exist or anything, but it's just, that's the obvious answer. I could have said Lakers and Boston and just left it at that. But I think Phoenix, I like their I think it would be like a Phoenix and Milwaukee rematch. If not Phoenix and Boston, I would say when it's all said and done.
I think I would go your route too. The first route I actually want to see Boston and OKC match up. It's two young teams. I think they would be good. I think Chet missing would, expose a lot. But they still have a lot of guys over there. They have a deep team. And like, I think it was Charles Barkley or somebody who said this the other day, like the people who succeed in the playoffs when it matters is like the depth matters. No, Charles Barkley didn't say that. KG and Paul Pierce, they were talking about that. Like the team that has the most depth, they end up either in the finals or winning the championship. So I would say either OKC and Boston, or out of the West, I would either go, if not OKC, I would either go Denver or the Lakers. Even though Denver has been low key, I like what Russ has been doing over there in Denver. A lot of people didn't think he was gonna fare well, but the fact that they move him up to a starting position and move Murray to the 2, I think that's why they've been so effective. So if not OKC, I would say Denver comes out of the West or the Lakers. I think the Lakers can, and then you got to factor in, we don't know what's going to happen at the trade deadline. We don't know what's going to happen on either side.
That's why I said Phoenix, because it's like, dude, if they get Jimmy Butler for Bradley Beal, I think that really shakes up everything, in my opinion. Just overall, like, you have someone like Jimmy Butler who works hard with KD and D-Book being D-Book. It's kind of hard to rule them out when KD and Book are practically going for 60 a game combined. And then you got Jimmy Butler being Jimmy Butler that we know him to be when he's not, dyeing his hair or looking gothic from medium. So it's, like I said, it's most definitely one of those things that, like, it's going to be like a really good postseason for sure. Obviously, not to go out the Cavs or anything. Obviously, they're the number one team in the league. Obviously, right now, not a PR or anything, but like that's what they are right now. I mean, I love their team overall, but I feel like, I ain't gonna say they're a fluke number 1 seed, because obviously seeding don't matter until you get into a series for real. And obviously, like them playing Orlando last year, where I think they get like 1 or 2 games at home, or I think it was Boston. I don't know. It was 1 or 2 teams, but like just some games where it's like you gotta, like, if you're the 1 seed, you gotta look like the 1 seed. You gotta sweep them. You gotta punish them or whatever. And sometimes it's like it didn't look like that, but now the jump that Evan Mobley has, as well as Jared Allen, with that dynamic of a front court with Garland and
Mitchell,
like flourishing together, being all allegations everybody keeps talking about. they look good. Like, it's kind of hard to rule them out, but we have to see how they look in April, if everyone's at full strength or not. But that's what any team. So I think it's not an open race, but you can really see like who's going to be at the Final Four.
Yeah, sure. Facts.
Also, I did have my last movie. Don't Be a Menace.
Okay, yeah, that's a solid one for sure. That's a solid 5 right there. But man, I'm big on giving anybody that I know, whether I have a personal relationship with them or I have a relationship through like business or whatever, their flowers. So, bro, again, I respect everything that you're doing, and I always like to highlight my guests and give them an opportunity to talk about their platform. So if you got anything new coming out that people need to be on the lookout for, or if you want to kind of shout out some things that you're doing that people can tap into, I want to give you that opportunity right now.
Oh, man, sure. I appreciate that, man. Just this overall conversation that we had today was everything I sincerely appreciated. And especially that you open with this opportunity for people like myself and others to really be able to showcase their story and like what makes them who they are with where they are. And I really appreciate that. Obviously, got the merch on ISSA VIBE, obviously, so obviously the page is ISSA VIBE LLC. On Instagram, it's in my bio. On my main page at ItsDameGotVisuals. Yes, ITS DameGotVisuals. It's just something that I always did. It's just sounds more smoother when you tell people, where it's like, I'm on IG. What's your IG? It's DameGotVisuals. It just sounds a lot more smoother. And follow my media page. You want to see any designs I did, like the recent one I did with Jello or whatever, with Tweaker.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, or pretty much. So I got a recent graphic I posted there, and obviously be on the lookout for more content to come from me. I do plan on really stepping into like a print space, actually like selling prints of designs that I've made have formally done, but also like wanting to be accessible and available to other people who really enjoy the work that I've done, and also open a potentially a mentorship opportunity for people who wants to work in sports or just wants to overall like achieve their goals and stuff. Not in a little ebook or nothing that you can't really obtain, but like there's value in it, and I have actual results that show for it. And that'll probably be like the couple things I have going on in my crazy life for the most part, other than working games. But that'll probably be all that I have overall, and I'm really thankful for this opportunity.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you for coming out. And before we get out of here, you know we cannot end the podcast without a quote. Today's quote is, "A man is great not because he hasn't experienced failure. A man is great because he has not allowed failure to stop him." Thank y'all for tuning in to the converSAYtion podcast. We'll see y'all same time, same place.